everyone, and welcome to the SIP. I'm coming to you live from MBA Secondary in New York City. But the SIP, much like the catching up with over coffee or an adult beverage, the SIP is about connection, bringing lender members and partners together to exchange ideas and solve industry challenges. It's a space of collaboration, showcasing real world case studies that highlight the power of working together. The SIP supports TMC's mission to foster a collaborative and innovative environment that empowers our members to grow, thrive, and positively impact companies and the communities that they serve. Collaboration fuels progress. So pour a cup, settle in, and elevate the industry together. So I thank all of you who have taken a break from your very busy day to join us in the SIP. I have a very nice bottle of water from a street vendor in Times Square. So not much of a sip today. But today's episode is proudly sponsored by Experience.com, where experience is everything. Joining us from Experience.com is Craig Pollack, VP of Market Insights. And Craig has invited Meghan Handy, Chief Customer Officer at Embrace Home Loans, who is a relatively new member of the Mortgage Collaborative and TMC's network. So thank you both for joining me today.
Hey,
It's a pleasure to
Jodi.
be here.
We will dive.
Ironically, I think the first time I met Megan in person might have been in Manhattan at Secondary. I know
I think you're right.
Lena was trying to get you to take the train down from New England, and I got to meet her, and I think we did connect that time.
We did. I was actually in Manhattan for another reason that wasn't secondary, but I
Oh,
did some
okay.
socializing with the folks that were at secondary. So I killed two birds that time. So that is the first time we met, Craig. You're right. And that was a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is amazing. I ventured as opposed to coming from JFK into the city via Uber. I took the train. I dared the train and I made it. I survived it. I'm here to communicate with all of you today. But Craig, I have to admit, when I was a lender, and many people know me as a recovering lender because that's how I explain myself these days. Experience.com was all about the customer experience and surveys, but the landscape has changed greatly. And so has the company. So tell us the full picture of experience.com today and the services that you offer beyond the traditional thinking of surveys.
Sure. And since it's not a 2-hour podcast, I'll give you the abbreviated version.
We
Um,
appreciate that.
Yeah, we've evolved. When we first started out, it was, you're right, just a basic survey, post close, and just lenders. Now we service other industries that are adjacent to mortgage. So we work with real estate, insurance, financial services, legal. What we've also done is we've added a lot of features that help loan officers to boost their SEO and to gain greater visibility in their local markets because the landscape has changed. Google has they have a near lock on search, and everybody's got a web presence, but you need to boost it. You can't just check a box and say, oh, we have a web presence, we're good. Right? You have to win the local search because there's a lot of competition. So yeah, we've added a lot of features over the last year to 2 years. And what it's done is it's put a little bit of pressure on our longtime clients like Megan's company Embrace, because we used to talk about our platform as set it and forget it. And now we're going back to people and saying that won't work anymore. And some of them are resistant. They're like, hey, that's not what you sold us. And we have to convince them that this is in the best interest of their loan officers is to pivot the mindset a little bit.
That's awesome. Meghan, I'm so thrilled to have you here. I love your LinkedIn profile, especially this gem. So, driving change, shifting industry culture to prioritize what home buyers need. not just what the business wants. And I think we've all had a dose of trying to meet what the home buyer needs, as opposed to what we all want in this environment. It's a powerful mission statement. Beyond being a change agent, tell us more about yourself, Embrace Home Loans, and the role that you have there.
Sure. So I'll start with Embrace. Embrace is retail mid-size IMB, mostly on in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic and Florida. I think that our what I call the Mid-Atlantic, I see that some of our competitors call their Northeast region. So I'm in Maryland right now, but I am a New Englander, so I feel like I'm very far south right now. But I'm here visiting one of our Maryland branches. My role at Embrace is I oversee marketing, so I'm a chief marketing and customer officer. But because I am so dedicated to that type of mission, when I took over the CMO role, I opted to keep the title Chief Customer Officer because I still want our marketing to be about the customer as well. So I oversee everything to do with the customer experience, which is going to be all of our customer facing technology, the POS and CRM, et cetera, plus our marketing team. And the customer experience and customer reviews and experience.com has kind of always been my baby. I still read most of our reviews.
Wow, that's a lot. And I think that you leverage it a lot. So I imagine that you have quite a few reviews coming in. So let's take just a little bit of a deeper dive into experience.com and your use cases. How does Embrace Home Loans use experience.com? And tell me about the surveys that you leverage and, what percentage of loan officers are using experience.com, or what percentage of your business is using experience.com?
Sure. So all of our loan officers have experience.com. We have an enterprise account that we pay for on behalf of the loan officer. So there's no opting in or opting out. Everybody uses it. They all enjoy it, I think. And every single one of our closed loans does receive a survey. So that's the post-closing survey. And the post-closing survey tends to be a little bit more about the loan officer. And that's a good thing because it really helps with their personal brand, their search presence, and they're able to utilize that to gain more business. It's great content. We also have the buyer's agent survey. So I will mention like our post-close survey has the highest response rate. About 60% of borrowers do reply to that post-close survey. Or it was 60%. It might be closer to 50% nowadays, but still it's an unheard of great response rate. Then we have our buyer's agent survey, which is going to be more like a 20% response rate, but we do really well with that. And then we also utilize Experience's benchmark survey. And the benchmark survey goes out probably about a week after closings or thereabouts. One thing to note about the benchmark survey is, like most IMBs, if you transfer a lot of your servicing in today's market, that service transfer might be captured in that benchmark survey. You get a lot of intel there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do want to point out, just because you are an IMB, we all, the entire network has loan officers, and you all have closed loans, and you all have consumers that you can gain valuable insights from. So you don't necessarily have to be an IMB to take advantage of experience.com.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
that's true. We also, by the way, we have some depositories who they may have started with us on a mortgage post-close survey, but once the bank people got wind of how much good data they were getting, they've come to us and they've said, "Hey, we could do it on our commercial lines of credit. We could do it on our auto loans. We could do it on opening up a new checking or savings account." And so we do have some clients who are also using that. So yeah, definitely a depository. There's multiple uses,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
If you want feedback on how everyone is doing and how your service is meeting the community's needs, definitely a great way to engage and to get that. We've seen a significant decrease in the number of loan officers across the industry, so opportunities are limited, and visibility really matters now more than it ever has. So, Craig, how does experience.com help loan officers get seen and land those valuable at bats?
Yeah, I mean, whether there's lots of new people in the market or whether we're seeing people who are not doing well getting out of the market and leaving the business for others, the competition is pretty intense. And nobody, I don't think anybody shops for anything anymore without checking reviews and testimonials, right? Whether it's on Amazon, whether it's going out to dinner, we're looking at reviews and we're just using crowdsourcing of feedback to make decisions, right? Um, and nobody's expecting perfect. Last night I think we were looking to order sushi, and a 4.6 is a really good score for a restaurant because you know those reviews tend to skew negative. So it's important that every loan officer be collecting feedback so that they can build up the number of reviews they have to get a score, to have a longevity of that score, right? To have reviews that are going back 4 years. If you're just getting started, obviously you need to start now so that you can do that in the future. But if you've been on our platform for a while, I think like Meg, again, we don't know exactly when we started with you, probably around 2017 or 18. Um, they've got the top, what was it, 20 loan officers have over 10,000 reviews combined on our platform, right? So that's going to help them when people are searching online in their market. Let's say top loan officer near me, or best loan officer, or mortgage loans in Rockville, Maryland, right? We want their branch, their loan officers to show up at the top of the search when those kinds of search terms are being used. And that's what our new search rank score is all about. So we've kind of decoded the Google algorithm, and then we gamified it and we put it on an 850 point scale so that people can say, oh, I'm only at 450. I need to get more points. And then they log into experience.com and the platform tells them what they need to do to gain 12 points here, 20 points there, 50 points somewhere else.
Yeah, so you're definitely leveraging that competitiveness of a sales force to drop, which is
100%.
valuable to them. We often talk about if we want people to do things and do things consistently, we do it for them. In this case, experience.com tells them what to do, but really leverages the gamification and really challenge them, which is it is great. And obviously, with your experience in the industry, you know how to get loan officers moving in the right direction. So,
Exactly.
Megan, Embrace has a loan officer who is either approaching or is already passed and has entered the Elite 800 Club. What strategies have been used to help her achieve those numbers, and what has that done for her business?
So I think that's incredible. And it's Michelle Dioria from Florida. And I was so excited when I heard about her score being super high. I think that she has gone ahead and embraced all the gamification that Craig has mentioned. Like there's all different things like fill this out on your Google profile, make sure this is all your different social media platforms are connected. There's a whole like checklist of things to do. She also serves her customers in an amazingly wonderful experience. So she gets 5-star reviews. That's going to be the number one thing to do. But then also making sure you're taking care of your web presence. And that includes the web analytics tool, which she subscribes to. So that's an additional feature that Craig that experience.com offers that's very cool. And some of our loan officers subscribe to it and others might not, but it seems like it's paying off for Michelle. So that's great news.
What is that, Craig? You want to tell the audience a little
Sure.
more about the web analytics?
Sure. So experience.com creates a profile page for every LO on our platform, right? And 99.9% of all the LOs have that turned on, right? There's a few exceptions. That's great, but we also know they're going to have a primary website. Most of the lenders provide that for them, right? They build a hierarchical website where it's the company information and then the branches, and then on the branch page, there's a list of the loan officers and there's a loan officer page. What we have built is an AI tool that analyzes that loan officer primary web page, and it identifies the SEO attributes and it gives them points. So it's 0 points if you don't have one or if it's not yours. up to 250 points. So out of the 850 points, 250 are that primary website, right? A really well-designed website can score 220 to 250, right? I have loan officers who have perfect 850 scores on our search rank game, and the last piece of the puzzle was getting their website dialed in with everything that we recommend that the website have on it. And so she's able to get the perfect 850 because she got the perfect 250. But there's lots of people who have 250 on their web analytics. So it's things like your security certificate and your meta tags, but it's also about load time and it's about having the right elements. You should have links to your Google link. You should have your hours of operation, an email address, a physical address, because remember, Google is all about local. And so when someone is searching in Rockville, Maryland, since Meghan's there, if the loan officer page doesn't say Rockville, Maryland, doesn't have the address, Google's going to have a hard time figuring out that that loan officer is local to a searcher who's just down the street in Silver Spring, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to have that address. That's critical. And again, some people just don't think about these things because they're really focused on making a beautiful website. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it being beautiful, but Google doesn't see the same beauty that we see. Google
Yeah.
reads the meta tags, and if the address isn't there, you're not winning SEO.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
So
The
it
it's
in
way
a
great.
our
nutshell.
address is on our website is actually beautiful. There's this very lovely zip code aesthetic that is really good.
If you do say so yourself, right,
Yeah.
Meghan?
Well, I will say one of the things that Embrace has done well that not all of our customers have yet, and we'll steal this, embraced, and that is they put the reviews on the loan officer webpage and they do it via our API. So we have some customers who have no reviews on their webpage. We have some customers who use our widget, which is easy, copy paste. You know, API is a little bit more complex. You have to know how to ingest the data and then customize how you want to display it. That is one of the attributes that we score on, and Embrace is knocking that out of the park because if you go to any loan officer profile page at Embrace, you'll see their reviews. I believe you're showing all of their reviews. It may be like the first 20 load, and then you have to click a button to load more, but they're all there, and that's a major, major factor.
And ease of use on Megan's part. Megan, do you remember the days that you had to copy the reviews into the websites and try to
We were
keep up with
lucky to
it?
get on this API right away because yeah, prior to using experience.com, yeah, we did have they were a little unsightly with whoever we were using before for reviews. And it was like a widget. So I would definitely recommend the API and it helps your website performance too, or your SEO rather, because it's new content every single day or
Yeah.
several times a day every time someone fills out a survey. So, and then it's not your web team trying to come up with new content or adding a
But it's
blog.
also it's also content that Google's looking for. So let's say a first-time home buyer is doing a long tail search on Google or Bing or whatever, right? And they know they're a first-time home buyer and they're looking for mortgage loan officers for first-time home buyers, right? It maybe nowhere on the page does the loan officer say he or she specializes in first-time home buyers, but in the reviews, three different customers said, as a first-time home buyer, I was nervous, but Joe explained the process to me and helped me get through it, and I'm so grateful. I'm a customer for life. Google reads that and says that's rich content, that's user-generated content. That makes it more valuable than what the loan officer has said. And now that page is more likely to be top of the search when someone uses that long tail search. And consumers are getting better at long tail searches, because they realize that if they're too generic, they're going to get too much information or the wrong information, or they're going to get only ads. When they start to drill down on their search, right? So they might be searching for down payment assistance. They might be searching for a 203K renovation loan. That's why you want all of that information on your profile page, on your experience.com profile page. And then you also hope that your consumers will write reviews and mention the product. But if they don't, another tip that we give people is when you reply to the review, try to insert the product in. So when you say, thank you so much for that great feedback, right? You could add in, it was my pleasure to help you with a 203K renovation loan. Can't wait to see the improvements that you make to the house,
Yeah.
right? And now you've just inserted keywords that Google's going to look for later.
Yeah. Amazing. And to think that I think the internet was invented when I started in the mortgage industry, and look how far we've come.
Yeah.
So, Craig, let me throw you a curveball. It really isn't a curveball, but we like baseball terminology around the mortgage collaborative and try to take advantage of the scenery, the different places that we go with baseball. But I wasn't aware that experience.com offered this buyer's agent survey until we started
Mhm.
prepping for the call. And I suspect many operators who have used experience.com over the years may not know about it. Can you please explain how it works and the value that it provides to our members?
Absolutely. Um, so look, the old days when we were social survey, a client like Embrace could only have one campaign, one survey. And when the idea came up, hey, we want to get feedback from our realtors, we said, okay, we can ingest that information. We can pull in the name of the real estate agent and we can pull in their email address, send them a survey, but it's the same survey that you're sending to the borrower, and the wording is angled towards the borrower. So when we moved over to the new platform, we made sure that every client can create multiple campaigns, right? So you might want to do a buyer's agent campaign. You might want to do a seller's agent campaign. We have some clients who do a lot of work in a Hispanic market. And not only did they want a Spanish language campaign, the questions to be in Spanish, but they wanted the emails asking the consumer to take the survey to be in Espanol. So we built the ability for our clients to have multiple campaigns. The most popular second campaign for most of our mortgage customers is a dedicated campaign just for the buyer's agents. These are the referral partners, right? These are the people who actually feed you. When you think about it, by the way, is the borrower your customer? Or is the real estate agent your customer? Or is the loan officer your customer? Meg's probably had that kind of
The
conversation in her
borrower
head.
is your customer, Craig.
Okay. All right.
The
But,
rest are your
but,
teammates.
okay.
That's my little spiel.
Okay. But those real estate agents are crucial, right? And if your
Yes.
loan officers are focused only on the borrower experience, they might leave those real estate agents feeling left out or feeling like they got less than they might have gotten from somebody else, right? They want to be part of it. Yes, it's their income. They just want the loan to close, but they also want this to be a smooth process, right? And so the idea is ask them whatever questions you want. Remember, our surveys are customizable. So you can ask 3 questions or 4 questions or 6 questions. You can choose if you want to have the buyer's agent reviews published on the loan officer's profile pages and sent via the API, or you can toggle a switch and say, no, this is just internal data that we're going to use to make decisions, right? So there's all these different settings. The buyer's agent campaign is fantastic. I think 17% of the reviews that Embrace got in 2024 were buyer's agent reviews. And that's with getting a lower completion rate, right? Which is natural
Yeah, well,
because,
that's a pretty good number, actually. And
yeah,
we do put them straight on the loan officer's page as well.
yes, most of our clients do. But I was just on a call this afternoon with a client who isn't doing a buyer's agent. And I thought, okay, how do I convince them? And I said, look, if you really want, let's launch it as a pilot with one region. And let's also launch it where you don't publish the results. Let everybody get comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
And once they're comfortable with it, we can flip the switch and now make it part of the public. Um, but yeah, 17%. So that's a great boost, right? When you think about more feedback, as a matter of fact, interestingly, the real estate agents actually scored the transactions higher than the borrowers did. The average, I think, was
Interesting.
498, and what was it, 494 on the customers?
On my customers, yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. So they're giving it, 4 100s better scores, which is great, right? And that's something you want to keep an eye on too, because if all of a sudden, a year from now those scores are dipping, then there may be a reason, right? There may be something that's
Yeah.
happening in the organization that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see a huge potential. You're not just strengthening that connection with the agent, but you're gathering valuable feedback to refine your best practices and do education and do training your teams effectively. This market is challenging. Many lenders are scrutinizing their tech stack, looking to eliminate or consolidate tools. And ROI is notoriously difficult to measure. With that in mind, when you weigh the cost versus the service that experience.com provides, Megan, what do you perceive as the true value of experience.com?
Well, it really is hard to get an actual number on the ROI, but I will say when I compare it to other tech when we do audit, okay, where can we save money? And the past few years, obviously those conversations happen all the time. Um, Customer feedback is like table stakes. There's no way you can operate without, first of all, having that feedback loop to understand what your borrowers are experiencing, having the outreach to agents and getting that feedback and getting that quality content. And then I know that it has driven and dating way back to when we first started with experience, and it just continues to accumulate, especially in some of our branches that we've had since the beginning, like where I'm sitting now in Rockville, like where I'll be tomorrow in Fairfax, Virginia. Those are going to come up in that 3-pack on Google with the local search. And I think especially now as search is changing quite a bit in a world where the AI answer is up at the top, that 3-pack and being in that local search, even if you're in a 5-pack, not a 3-pack, but being in that top of the local search with the map is like more important than ever. And I've seen experience as the easiest way to get there.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Craig, can you tell the audience, if anyone wants to learn more, how they can reach out to you or to experience.com to see how you can partner together?
Sure. I mean, our website is experience.com, as easy as it can
Hard to
be.
remember.
Right. And there's probably forms on there you can fill out. Of course, you can also reach out to the people at TMC that you work with closely, and they can get you my direct email address, and I can then direct you to the account executive that is assigned to you because I don't manage every account. And by the way, we want anybody who's already using our platform to reach out as well. If something that they heard today resonates and they're like, oh, we're not doing that, or how do I set that setting? Reach out and then we can get you in touch with the right people within our organization to make those things happen. Because, some of our clients are not doing buyer's agent surveys. Some of our clients are not doing Google secondary workflow,
Yep.
right? That's another big one where if you're asking them to take a survey, answer 3 questions, sometimes the perception is, oh, but we're not getting Google reviews. And those are super important, right? We agree.
Yep.
We think Google reviews are super important. So we've created all these workflows that direct your customers to write Google reviews. And so you're getting a high percentage of your customers to complete the survey and also getting a high percentage to write Google reviews. So just the website, fill out a form or reach out to TMC and they'll pass along a message to me. I'll get you the right person.
That sounds awesome. And I appreciate both of you for the insightful conversation. And thank you to experience.com for sponsoring this episode, and to Craig and Megan for your valuable insights. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us and being a part of the collaborative conversation. You can find us here next week, Tuesday, May 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for our TMC community, and 3 p.m. Eastern live with the industry on LinkedIn Live. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join the SIP. So whether you're tuning in for fresh insights, industry connections, or just a great conversation, we really appreciate you taking this time. So until next time, cheers.
Thanks. Thanks, Jodi.
Thank you, Jodi.